everyone, it is Jerry from ONYX Pages. Thank you very much for watching this channel. Welcome back. So this is going to be my last TBR of the year, my first year on BookTube, and I'm very excited. There's a lot to celebrate on this channel, which I will be doing in future videos, but I'm very happy to be here to tell you a little bit about what I'm going to be reading this month. So let us get started. I'm going to start with Nalo Hopkinson because I love Nalo Hopkinson. So this is The New Moon's Arms. I actually read this book for the first time in, I don't even remember. It was published in, this is where prep comes in handy, 2007. And I think I read the book the year that it came out, so maybe 2007. And I actually listened to it this time on audiobooks, which was an interesting experience. This is my first audiobook, and it was weird because I grew up in a Caribbean family, and so I know what Caribbean folks are supposed to sound like, and the person who was narrating the book didn't sound like I expected, and so for the first couple of chapters it was a little bit distracting, and then I got used to her. And if you've heard Nalo speak, like, it would have been really amazing if Nalo Hopkinson actually had the opportunity to narrate this book as well. But anyway, The New Moon's Arms is actually my favorite Nalo Hopkinson book. There are just so many things about it. So in this book, we follow Calamity. Calamity is a middle-aged woman who is going through menopause. She is completely she's hot-blooded, she's homophobic, she is, I say that with a smile on my face, I'll get back to you on why I do that. She is kind to her family members, she believes in the unknown, she's saucy and sexy and irritable, and she just reminds me of middle-aged Caribbean women doing their thing. So I could really sort of understand her sensibilities and the decisions that she made. Anyway, we follow her at during a period of her life after she lost her father, who she had been taking care of, and Calamity finds something, someone in this story, and this someone changes her life, and this someone acts as a bridge between her and the past, between her and her understanding of the magical dimensions that exist in the world, and it's just a really, really wonderful tale. And I have to say, even though it took me a while to get into the narration of the audiobook, the narration also caused me to really empathize with Calamity a little bit more, and I think that's because of the talent of the narrator. So I really enjoyed listening to this. I finished listening to the book yesterday, so it is a TBR, but I've already completed it, and I will be doing a full review on The New Moon's Arms because it's a really, really wonderful Nalo Hopkinson read. I think I'm going to do this in a different order. Okay, so I think I've decided on a bit of a plan. I think what I want to do every month is read at least one fiction book, one anthology or a part of an anthology of short stories. I'd like to read a graphic novel, and then after that I'll just be open. But this will be my nonfiction read for December. So this is social text, and I discussed this in my haul video, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. But social text is a journal that's published out of Penn State? Duke University. Sorry, Duke, not Penn. And what I'm excited about is that this issue was guest edited by Alondra Nelson. And Alondra Nelson, I believe, so this was published in 2002. Alondra Nelson, I think she ran a listserv around that time, and that listserv was, it sort of gave birth to one of the very first conversations about Afrofuturism as we understand it in the sort of American context. And so a lot of these writers are talking about the importance of science fiction to include African peoples. And I think that there are some continental African writers in this text, I believe, who, yeah, at least one, I think, judging by the last name, and I think they talk about the origins of African science fiction. And just looking at the pictures, there are pictures that appear to be either from the Caribbean or somewhere on the continent, I think West Africa, and I think that we will encounter, yeah, like I'm seeing words like the Orisha, taboos. I see Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu in Star Wars. So I think I'm going to be just hearing and reading a lot about Afrofuturism as it was understood in 2002. And for those of you who have watched my channel, you know that I'm really interested in how Afrofuturism is developing over time, how it was created, and some of the critiques on the principles that are associated with it. So I'm super excited to read this, and even though it's really thin, I'm pretty sure it packs a bit of a punch because it's an academic read. Okay, so I hope to read one of the 3 short novels, forgive me, in this compilation. So this is ABC by Samuel R. Delany, who is a science fiction writer. And, okay, the 3 stories in this collection are The Jewels of Aptor, The Ballad of Beta 2, and They Fly at Siron. And I think that I am going to read, yes, The Jewels of Aptor. So The Jewels of Aptor is a science fantasy story about a seafaring quest to find powerful magic jewels on a mystical forbidden island where unimaginable danger lies. I feel like coming out of The New Moon's Arms, which has elements of the sea and what the sea might contain, it will be interesting to read Samuel R. Delany's writing about this underwater world and what it might entail. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to read for that. I'm also going to be reading The Prey of Gods, which I just started today. The Prey of Gods is written by Nikki Drayden. So this is going to be my first Nikki Drayden read, and I'm super excited about this. So Nikki Drayden, she's a short fiction writer. I think this is her first novel. She's also a systems analyst, and she lives in Austin, Texas. And she's pretty cool, and I just want to read the back because it just got me. So, in South Africa, the future looks promising. Personal robots are making life easier for the working class. The government is harnessing renewable energy to provide infrastructure for the poor. And in the bustling coastal town of Port Elizabeth, the economy is booming thanks to the genetic engineering industry, which has found a welcome home there. Yes, the days to come are looking very good for South Africans. That is, if they can survive the present challenges. A new hallucinogenic drug sweeping the country, an emerging AI uprising, and an ancient demigoddess hell-bent on regaining her former status by preying on the blood and sweat, but mostly blood, of every human she encounters. It's up to a young Zulu girl, powerful enough to destroy her entire township, a queer teen plagued with the ability to control minds, a pop diva with serious daddy issues, and a politician with even more serious mommy issues to band together to ensure there's a future left to worry about. In a style both fun and fantastical, Nikki Drayden takes her brilliance as a short story writer and weaves together an elaborate tale that will capture your heart even as one particular demigoddess threatens to rip it out. So I'm so happy to be reading this. I'm actually going to be buddy reading this with Maya of Maya Reads. And so I'm super looking forward to talking about this book with her. And I'm going to, if I can, I'm going to include like a screenshot of the cover because you probably can't see it, but let me see if I can make it closer. I don't know if this is even going to work, but I'll edit over it if it doesn't. Can you just look at the face of the little girl? Isn't that the best expression ever? I feel like I made that expression as a kid all the time, but it could either be like, you have no idea what I am, or like, I'm gonna blow this ish up, or like, isn't my hair so cool? Like, it could mean anything. Anyway, I'm super excited to read this. And then, finally, in December, I am going to read Octavia Butler's Kindred, but this is the graphic novel version of Kindred. So you might be familiar with this Kindred. I think that's the newest cover that we have of Kindred. So this is an amazing story. This tells a story of Dana. So she's a 26-year-old black woman married to a white man. They live in California, and something happens to Dana. Dana kind of realizes that she's time traveling. She doesn't really understand why, but she is brought back in time to the slavery era, where she is responsible for protecting a white man who's a slave owner, because if she doesn't, then her descendants will not be born, and so she might not exist. And so throughout the book, she gets taken back in time for longer and long periods of time. And so it's a time travel novel that deals with slavery, and that also deals with like feminism, and it also deals with queer type relationships. There was an amazing article that I read in Strange Matings about why this story was queer, even though the protagonist is heterosexual and the relationships are heterosexual relationships for the most part. But anyway, this is that, except it's in graphic novel form. So this is an adaptation by Damian Duffy and John Jennings. And so John Jennings is a name who you should be familiar with if you watched any of my videos, because I feel like he's all over the place. He's done a lot of the cover art for the work that for the Afrofuturism books that I'm reading. I'm also going to be reading a nonfiction anthology about his graphic artwork and the way that he has influenced the comic world. And just looking at the images, I mean, they're not really my typical style. They're kind of like gritty and rough. But I'm here for it. I'm really looking forward to the graphic novel. I really am. Yeah. There's some other images there. Anyway, so I think that's it for my TBR in December, and I'm super excited because I am going to be introducing a reading challenge as well, and I'll be doing that in another video, so please stay tuned for that. But I hope that you enjoyed my review of the books that I plan to read in December. I celebrate Christmas culturally with my family, but I am a practitioner of Kwanzaa, so I'm looking forward to the reflection that will come in that part of December and into the new year. So I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. So if you have read any of the books that I'm going to be reading in December, I'd really love to hear your thoughts. I'm not too worried about spoilers. That's not really a big thing for me, because we all bring ourselves to what we read, and even if somebody tells us about something that's going to happen in the plot, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to land on us in the same way. So, you know, feel free to be effusive and detailed in your comments. I love that. And if, based on what I've read, you would recommend any books to me, I'd be really into that as well. Okay, so anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if you like this video, please like, please subscribe if you're not subscribed, and as I said, please feel free to comment. Okay, I'm gone. Bye.